Okay, this is lecture 19 of basic calculus 1. So, recall that in the last class we discussed about Rolle's theorem and mean value theorem and discussed some examples also. So, today will be an extension of that. We will not go to any new concepts, we will solve some more problems on that. There will be some examples and some exercises. Yeah, it is better to use the exercises this way. Whenever an exercise problem comes, you can read the problem and pause the video for some time, solve it yourself and then come back to the solution. So, that will be better for you. Examples, of course, you can do the same way, but still you have the freedom, you can read it because they are meant to be as examples. Okay. So, with this we will start our examples first. The first example says that let f x be a function, it is continuous on a b, that is f is a function from closed interval a b to r, it is continuous and it is differentiable on the open interval a b. So, these are the assumptions in the Rolle's theorem as you remember, but in Rolle's theorem we have f a equal to f b, which is not given here. It is given as f a into f of b is less than 0. So, which means they have opposite signs. If f of a is plus, f of b is minus, and if f of a is minus, then f of b is plus. So, that product is less than 0. And it is also known that f prime of x is not equal to 0 for any x in a b. So, it does not vanish at any point of a b. Now, we need to show that f of x has a unique 0 in closed interval a b. So, first thing we have to show that it has a 0, that is there is a point c such that f of c equal to 0, and second thing we have to show if d is another point and c is less than d, then there is something wrong, or you say c is equal to d. One of these we have to show for uniqueness. Okay, let us see. Now that f of a and f of b have opposite signs, so we can use intermediate value theorem on the interval a b to get one point c where it is equal to 0. At some point it is negative, some point it is positive. So, in between somewhere 0 must be achieved. That is what the intermediate value theorem says. So, that shows that there exists a point c such that f c equal to 0. Now, you must show also uniqueness. So, there this f prime x not equal to 0 will be helpful, and using mean value theorem or Rolle's theorem, maybe Rolle's theorem is easier. Okay. So, suppose there exists another point say d in a b with f of d equal to 0. Say c and d are two different numbers now, maybe c is less than d or d is less than c. Now, it satisfies Rolle's theorem now, f of c equal to f of d equal to 0. Now, think of f on the interval closed interval c d, which is a subset of a b. So, on this closed interval c comma d, f is differentiable, and on the open interval c d it is continuous. Of course, it is continuous on the closed interval also, but that is what we need for applying Rolle's theorem. Then Rolle's theorem says that there exists a point between c and d, say alpha, where f prime alpha must be equal to 0. But we know that f prime x is never equal to 0 inside a b. So, that is the contradiction. Therefore, there does not exist another point. So, c is the only 0 of f of x inside the interval a b. So, this is how we will be using Rolle's theorem. Now, let us take another example. So, here we have a function which is defined on the whole of R. So, f is a function from R to R, it is known to be differentiable. Further, we have some more information that f of 1 is equal to 1 and f prime x is 0 for x less than 1. That is, at 1 it is equal to 1 and to the left of it f prime is 0. See, there are two different information. One information is about f functional value at 1 and the other one is talking about f prime. So, f prime x is 0 for x less than 1 and f prime x is bigger than 0 for x bigger than 1. Okay. So, it is negative to the left of 1, positive to the right of 1. We have to show two things. First, it asks that, or it suggests that f of x is greater than or equal to 1 for all x. And second one is f prime at 1 is 0, f prime is differentiable. Now, f prime exists at 1 because f is differentiable, and we have to show that f prime 1 equal to 0. Okay. So, let us try the first one. Since it is information is on f prime is given for all points to the left of 1 and again for all points to the right of 1. So, let us consider two different cases. Suppose x is a point which is less than 1. Now, we use mean value theorem, see that it satisfies all the conditions in mean value theorem. So, here suppose x is less than 1, you are considering x comma 1 closed interval, where you will be satisfying the conditions of mean value theorem. So, it is continuous over that closed interval x to 1 and it is differentiable in the open interval x to 1. So, you can apply mean value theorem to get a point C between x and 1 such that the secant will be equal to slope of the secant equal to slope of the tangent, that is f 1 minus f x by 1 minus x is equal to f prime of C for some point C between x and 1. Okay. So, now that f prime x is less than 0 for x less than 1, this C is between x and 1. So, f prime C must be less than 0. Now, we have chosen x to be smaller than 1. So, 1 minus x is bigger than 0, it is positive. So, the ratio f 1 minus f x by 1 minus x is known to be negative. So, that means the ratio the numerator must be less than 0, because 1 minus x is positive and ratio is negative. So, numerator must be negative. So, this gives f of 1 is less than f of x. So, this is for all those x which are less than 1, right. So, f of 1 is less than f of x. Similarly, we will consider x which is bigger than 1. Let us take any point which is bigger than 1. Again apply the mean value theorem on the interval 1 comma x, closed interval 1 comma x. So, there f of x minus f of 1 divided by x minus 1 is equal to f prime d for some d between x and 1, or 1 and x if you say 1 is smaller. Okay. So, now again we consider the same way, which one is negative, which one is positive. Here first thing we know that f prime d is positive and x minus 1 is positive. Therefore, f x minus f of 1 must be positive. So, it says that f of x is bigger than f of 1. So, here also earlier we have got f of 1 less than f of x, which is same thing as telling f of x is bigger than f of 1. So, that means at any point x which is smaller than 1 or which is larger than 1, we always have the inequality f of x is bigger than f of 1. And this is about all points x which are not equal to 1. When f of x, that is x equal to 1, what happens to f of x? It is f of 1 and that is known to be equal to 1. Therefore, whichever x you may choose from R, f x must be greater than or equal to 1. That is our conclusion. So, A is proved. Now, we should go for B, where we have to show f prime 1 must be equal to 0. Okay, so, what do we do? It is f prime at 1 is not given, but f prime smaller than 1 is given and bigger than 1 is given. Okay. So, let us choose any point x smaller than 1. As earlier we have seen that f 1 minus f x by 1 minus x is negative. So, it is same thing as telling f x minus f 1 by x minus 1, we multiply minus sign there. So, you get f x minus f of 1 by x minus 1 is less than 0. Now, if you take x bigger than 1, a similar thing will happen. If you take x bigger than 1, Then again we have seen that f x minus f of 1 divided by x minus 1 is f prime d, which is given to be positive. So, f x minus f of 1 by x minus 1 is again positive or greater than 0 for x bigger than 1. So, now let us look at this. If you take limit x goes to 1 minus f of x minus f of 1 by x minus 1, it is less than or equal to 0, because for all x smaller than 1 it is negative, that ratio. So, it is in the limit it can be equal to 0. So, it is less than or equal to 0. And if you take the right hand limit, this inequality says that the same limit x, but now x goes to 1 plus from the positive side, but the ratio is the same f x minus f 1 by x minus 1, that is greater than or equal to 0. So, now when you say f prime 1 exists, so that means both these limits exist and are equal, that is our definition of f prime at 1. So, since they are equal, one is less than or equal to 0, another is greater than or equal to 0, both of them must be equal to 0, right. So, that is what we obtain, that f prime of 1 equal to 0. So, here you notice that at 1 we have to turn back to our definition of the derivative, that it is limit of f x minus f 1 by x minus 1. Then on the left side it is less than 0, on the right side is greater than 0, limit exists, therefore, limit must be equal to 0. That is the argument we used. Okay. So, let us take another example. Here f is again a real valued function defined over the whole of R, its domain is R. It is given that f is a differentiable function, that is everywhere it is differentiable, and its derivative is always less than or equal to 2, that is also given. Okay. This is our information, given information, that f prime of x is less than or equal to 2 at every x. Now, something else is given, that f at 2000 is equal to minus 4. So, you want to find out what would be the maximum value of f of 2021. So, of course, it depends on the function, okay, exact maximum value. So, we are really searching for a possible maximum value. So, what is the possible maximum value of f of 2021? We can never make it bigger by choosing our f. That is the meaning of this. What is the maximum value of f of 2021? Given f, there is a maximum, but this says something else. It says you think about whatever f you may take, but if f prime x is less than or equal to 2 and f of 2000 is minus 4, then what could be possibly the largest value of f of 2021? Okay. So, how do we proceed? We apply again mean value theorem, because we want f at 2021. So, f at 2021 is equal to f at 2000 plus 2021 minus 2000 multiplied by f prime evaluated at some point between 2000 to 2021. That is what mean value theorem says. So, here what we are doing? We are applying mean value theorem for the function f, which is defined over the closed interval 2000 to 2021. We know it is differentiable in the open interval and it is continuous on the closed interval. So, that is how mean value theorem is applicable. Okay. Now, that f prime c is less than or equal to 2, we can have some estimate for f of 2021. And you see f at 2000 is minus 4, it is some number, f prime c into a positive number, 2021 minus 2000, that is positive. So, if f prime c becomes the largest, which is 2 here, then this expression will be largest, right. So, the maximum is obtained when f prime c is maximum. So, maximum means we will take that as 2 itself, which is 2. So, we get the maximum value of f of 2021 as, just substitute 2 here, we get f of 2000 plus 2 into this, which is minus 4 plus 2 into 20, which is 38. but there is some, it is not yet finished. So, we say that this is maximum possible value. So, is it really attained? That means, whether there exists a function f which satisfies these constraints and that gives f of 2021 equal to 38. Of course, you can construct an example very quickly, because f prime x you are taking as 2 and f at 2000 is minus 4. So, you may see a simpler function like f prime x equal to 2x and maybe plus some constant. So, which will, when differentiated, will give still the value 2. So, let us try 2x plus c as f of x, it is just a trial, but this should be equal to minus 4 when x is replaced by 2000. So, this gives 4000 plus c and that should be equal to minus 4. So, that gives c equal to this is minus 4004. So, that means we can take a function f of x equal to 2x minus 4004. Now, you see it satisfies all the conditions, that f prime x equal to 2. That is how we want an example for that, and f at 2000 is minus 4. Now, if I take f of 2021, I would get 2x. So, that gives 4042 minus 4004, which is giving 38. So, exactly 38 you are getting. That means, this possible maximum value can be achieved by choosing a function suitably, namely f of x equal to 2x minus 4004. So, that in fact completes the problem, though we have not shown that in the example, because we wanted only maximum possible value. Okay. So, let us go to next problem. Here again the function is defined over the whole of R. It is a real valued function with domain equal to R. So, it is known as earlier that it is differentiable with f prime x is less than or equal to 2 for each x in R. This is exactly the same condition as in example 3. But we are asked something else. It is known that f of minus 10 equal to minus 20. So, this condition is changing, and also f of 10 equal to 20. Then we want to find all possible values of f of pi. So, as you guess that we can have some f of x which will satisfy this, it will be equal to say 2x, I think that does, which is f prime x less than or equal to 2, f at minus 10 is minus 20, f at 10 is 20. So, now a possible value of f of pi is 2 pi, that is a possible value, but there can be all other possible values. So, it is asking us to find out all possible values of f of pi. Now, you see f prime x is less than or equal to 2. So, it does not look like we will get another value. Okay, let us try and see what happens. So, first thing is f of x it satisfies. So, we get f of pi as 2 pi as a possible value. Now, we want to show that this is the only value. So, our guess was f of x equal to 2x. So, let us define another function g x, which is f x minus 2x. If we can show that g of x is equal to 0, then that would finish the problem, right, that it is the only value. Okay, let us see. Now, g x equal to f of x minus 2x, and g is continuous on minus 10 to 10 and differentiable on open interval minus 10 to 10. So, you can use mean value theorem or Rolle's theorem, whichever you want. Now, here what we have is g of minus 10 is equal to 0. Let us see, that of course, we have verified, and g of 10 is also equal to 0, right, and g prime x equal to f prime x minus 2 is less than or equal to 0 for each x in minus 10 to 10. Now, if you use mean value theorem, you should get one c such that g of pi equal to g of minus 10 plus g prime c into pi plus 10. see we have the interval minus 10 to 10 where pi lies somewhere. So, we are using mean value theorem and we get C in minus 10 to 10 such that g of pi is equal to g of minus 10 from we are taking on this now. In fact, C minus 10 to 10 we can limit it further that C belongs to minus 10 to pi also. You can think of this closed interval where you apply. So, that gives g of pi equal to g of minus 10 plus g prime of C into pi minus 10 which is pi plus 10. And now we can find out g of minus 10 is 0. So, g prime C into pi plus 10. So, that gives g prime C is less than or equal to 0 because g prime x is less than or equal to 0 for each x. So, this is negative and pi plus 10 is of course positive. So, this part becomes negative. Therefore, this is less than or equal to g of minus 10 the first term, but that is 0. So, that means g of pi is less than or equal to 0, that is what we get. Now, again we go to the other side, that is we have pi here and 10 here. On this closed interval, if we use again mean value theorem, I would get g of pi equal to g of 10 coming the other side plus g prime d into pi minus 10, d is lying between somewhere pi and 10. So, now pi minus 10 is negative and g prime d is also negative. So, this is positive, then g of pi must be greater than or equal to g of 10 which is 0. So, here we have g of pi less than or equal to 0, here we get g of pi greater than or equal to 0. Therefore, g of pi must be 0, right. That is what we wanted. For all possible values, we thought that it is the only value, f of pi is 2 pi. So, we defined g x equal to f x minus 2 x and try to show that g is 0 at pi. So, that is what follows now, g of pi less than or equal to 0, g of pi is greater than or equal to 0, therefore, g of pi equal to 0. So, once g of pi is 0, we have got f of pi equal to g of pi plus 2 pi which is 2 pi.